very much. Super Tuesday continues. It's presented by Boost Mobile. We are in Missouri. Kentucky has come calling. All right, I'm Karl Ravech. Full disclosure, we often spend a lot of time thinking about how we create a creative open to a telecast. Tonight's not one of those nights. Like, there's usually a Jimmy Dykes whiteboard or a Laura Rutledge story, and it works sometimes, and sometimes a little awkward. Tonight, the answer's like right in front of us. Based on a down then up week, tonight's Open is all about the return of Big Blue Nation and Kentucky to basketball prominence.
Hayes goes up, layup off the glass, and up in by Pavel Bigby Williams. Did they count the basket? Counted the basket. Wow. The Tigers get their first win against Kentucky inside Rupp Arena.
Kentucky out hustling Tennessee on the offensive glass.
This is the best Kentucky's played all season long. The best they have played.
Ravi, you're exactly right. The Kentucky Wildcats are on a roll. They rocked College Game Day on Saturday, knocked off #1 Tennessee. They're currently ranked #4 in the AP poll, projected as a 1 seed by some right now. P.J. Washington, the National Player of the Week. If you're John Calipari, you erase all that from your players and understand you have to play as desperate tonight as you did Saturday against Tennessee. Laura Rutledge, Kentucky, they have to avoid the noise.
They absolutely do, Jimmy. And Reed Travis, Kentucky's veteran, said he's not sure they would have won that Tennessee game if they hadn't lost to LSU right before that. But he said, look, we're done with these wake-up calls. Coach Cal called Travis a beast the last couple of games, and Reed says that he approaches his physical battles inside like a wrestling match, also knowing he can free up P.J. Washington and others. One interesting note about tonight, Reed Travis, of course, played at Stanford when Coach Cuonzo Martin, now with Missouri, was coaching Cal. So Cuonzo feels like he's got a few secrets up his sleeve to try and stop Travis. We'll see if that factors in. And Ravi, let's try not to be awkward.
Well, we did get the whiteboard, and we got a Rutledge story, so we're off to a flying start. Check the open box. We're good there. Tennessee, a little sluggish tonight. They did get a victory, but it wasn't #1 type performance for a team that's now #5 in the country off of that loss to Kentucky. There's LSU and Kentucky, the top 3, 1 loss and 2 loss. And we just saw South Carolina take care of Ole Miss. They're the #4 team. It does feel like if you can finish first in the conference, Jimmy, that is a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And you know what? You have a better chance of not having a whiteboard in the Open as you do keeping Kentucky off the offensive glass.
Right.
Not easy to do. And this is a Kentucky team that can really pound you when that ball's above the rim. And you look at those top 3 teams, to your point, Ravi, 1 matchup versus 4 looks to be right now a lot easier than 2 versus 3 in Nashville, right?
Without question. Keldon Johnson will take the first shot, go off the window, no good. That one is off Travis as he went for the offensive rebound. Keep an eye on Jeremiah Tillman. He's #23. He's the big guy in the middle. Needs to stay out of foul trouble. Geist has been their best player all year. Pickett, they love his tenacity.
Here's the 2 keys for Missouri. Don't turn the ball over and establish Jeremiah Tillman on the low block. If they do those 2 things, they can put game pressure on Kentucky.
Good start. Xavier Pinson buries a 3 from Missouri. Freshman out of Chicago, Illinois.
Man-to-man defense by Missouri with hard pressure on the ball, but kind of a zone look behind the basketball.
P.J. Washington, he calmly knocks down a 3. What a week P.J. is coming off. In fact, today named the National Player of the Year for the week, and that does not happen very often, even by Kentucky standards. He's the 5th ever in Wildcat program history to get the Oscar Robertson Player of the Week National Award.
His stroke looks as good as anybody out there right now. Over the last 8 ball games, shooting 50% from the 3-point line is PJ.
Furrier into the paint. Pinson waited for a loose ball. He picked it up, and they're going to call a travel on him. It was not hit by Jordan Geist, even though he thought or tried to sell that it was. Laura?
Yeah, Ravi, talking about P.J. Washington being named the player of the week, it was pretty neat. At shoot-around earlier today, right in this gym, Coach Cal called the entire team over to announce that P.J. had been named the player of the week, making note that it really hadn't happened that many times that he could remember, even considering all the great players he's had.
Reed Travis misses a 3. The other guys that have won it, Monk won it, Knox won it, Julius Randle won it. and Deron Lamb. Those are the 4 Wildcats that have won that award.
Nice job by Hagans to attack the ice action that Missouri put on him defensively.
How about Hero's movement into the corner after Johnson drove to the paint?
Right, but that was just tremendous offense because Missouri was icing Hagans. He drove the ice and then got the ball reversal to the third side of the floor.
Hagans, Hero, Johnson, Reed, Travis, and Washington. They've gotten some really good minutes from some of those guys like Nick Richards and E.J. Montgomery recently. Emmanuel quickly did an unbelievable job defensively in that game against Tennessee.
Yes, he did, as well as the entire Kentucky team. Their ball pressure on the passing position of Tennessee was a huge part of that game, and Tennessee could not drive them with any success.
Going to get a foul on Reed Travis. You saw Tillman start to fly out of bounds. There's Coach Sean Calipari, 10th season as the head coach here. Almost 300 wins, one more. Joby Hall, second most in Kentucky history. He's been fantastic every single season building a team. This team seems to be a little bit ahead of where he usually is, especially defensively. Puryear working the offensive glass for the rebound and the bucket.
Right, that's a terrific pivot by Puryear away from the pressure that was going to eat him up top. Understanding he can't finish over that length, so he pivots away from it. Well done.
Curl by Keldon Johnson, too strong off the window, goes up for an offensive rebound, and he'll have it.
Ravi, that 4 position of Missouri has not been a strength of this team all season long. And you see Puryear getting that backside rebound position. See how he pivots away from Washington? That's just a veteran kid making a smart move.
Ronnie Suggs, number 3, picks up the first foul.
Missouri has struggled defending pin down action, just like Johnson worked off of right there all season long. Well
There's
done.
that body of Reed Travis. If it's a wrestling match, he just got a pin.
Yeah, yes, he did. He can do that to a lot of folks. Kentucky's going to put Missouri in pin down defense, just curl into those elbows, and they'll come off of them to shoot or come off of them to pass to that screener on the slip to the rim.
Xavier Pinson takes a seat on the bench. Mark Smith comes in. He's missed a lot of time with an ankle injury. In fact, 6 games. He did return in the last outing. He's a terrific 3-point shooter, can really stretch a defense.
Yeah, what, 47% right now, leads the SEC, number 8th in the country. And if you're Kentucky, you have to make 13 in gold a driver in this ball game tonight.
Jordan Geist, the senior guard, avoids the double team. They kick to an open 3, and Puryear does not do that very well. But look at Tillman go up and get it. Now he's going to shoot it too strong and too long.
No, he's 70% when he takes shots around the rim. It drops to about 32% when he's 8 feet or farther.
P.J. Washington couldn't get it to go, but boy, against Tennessee, he made a living against Williams and Schofield and Alexander and anybody they brought out of the stands with that little right-handed hook shot of his.
Yeah, he chewed him up. Calipari started isolating P.J. on that left block, letting him go left shoulder with the right jump hook, and that game was over. 5 or 6 in a row, and Tennessee had no answer for it.
Puryear picks up his 2nd foul, so he'll come out of the game. Washington's first free throw is good. Rivalry week, that's what we're enjoying now. And tomorrow, of course, the big one. Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, number 1 Duke, host number 8 North Carolina. It's at Cameron Indoor at a Sonic blockbuster, 9 Eastern time on ESPN and the ESPN app.
I think they've split the last 8, I believe, in that series.
PJ's 2nd free throw, no good. Kentucky on a 10-2 run, and to Jimmy's point, they've been splitting the last 8. 46 meeting with both of the teams in the AP top 10. Little steps there and a travel call. That's the most in poll history, 2nd against Carolina and NC State. In fact, they're going to get Tillman with an offensive foul instead of a travel.
Well, he's trying to move a mountain, and the mountain is Reed Travis. And it's hard to bully him around the rim. And terrific job by Travis to throw up a wall.
Wouldn't surprise you if they go at Tillman, right? Try to get him his 2nd foul.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a difference maker for Missouri when he's on the floor.
Hagans, he pushed Geist out of the way. And that may not be a mountain, but it is certainly a hard guy to move. 10-5 early, Kentucky on top. Super Tuesday here on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save. And in part by Zaxby's. Chicken fingers, buffalo wings, salads. Find a location at Zaxby's.com.
Rivalry Week presented by Wendy's. This Kentucky team certainly on a roll after the win over Tennessee. And one of the things that Reed Travis and others said about what's happened with this team is that they are very young, but they're finally starting to act a little bit more like veterans at the right time. Still, though, being challenged by Coach Cal, and it's that fine line, that balance, guys, of coaching but not coaching too much. Cal talked a lot about that and even said that this game, he thought right before the game, would be a very good litmus test of where they are right now. Can they have a huge win over the #1 team in the country and then come back and be consistent in their next game on the road? Remains to be seen, but so far a nice start for the Cats.
That's something always worries a coach, Ravi, is avoiding the noise like we talked about in the open and flushing that win out of their system. And it looks like so far the first 5 minutes Kentucky's done a nice job of it. Tennessee in that ball game tonight, they were selfish, soft, and they were phonies to what they value. Now Kentucky punished them, but we'll see where Tennessee goes from this point on.
Guys, good look, and that's a baseline jumper, and that one falls from Ronnie Suggs. So out of the break, they get a couple. Travis is a veteran on this team, obviously a grad transfer from Stanford. Mentioned earlier that while he was at Berkeley, Cuonzo Martin got a chance to watch him a lot. He thought that he actually fit better in the Pac-12 because it wasn't as physical as the SEC. And that guy can be physical in any conference,
yes,
obviously,
absolutely,
given his size.
Yeah, but he was putting up huge numbers, like 19 points, 8 or 9 rebounds a game.
P.J. Washington, good defense that time against him. And a run out for Suggs. They're going to get Tillman for his second, and that's going to drive Cuonzo Martin crazy.
Well, he got that left elbow up into the neck area of the defender, right in front of that baseline official. Watch Jeremiah Tillman posting up. Watch the left arm come up right there. I don't know. There's not a lot of contact there. That's just two guys fighting for post position. I didn't see either one get dislodged, and that's a huge call in this game.
Sure is. Been a bone of contention from Cuonzo Martin that, you got to call it one way against one team, meaning Tillman, because he's often in foul trouble. You got to do the same thing on the other side.
Yeah, Cuonzo's in the ear right now. Pat Adams letting him know.
E.J. Montgomery into the game for the first time with Nick Richards. And he took some steps. The luxury that Kentucky enjoys, as you see Cuonzo Martin, you have 4 bigs, and any combination of them can be effective at any time in a game.
Anxious to see what Nick Richards and E.J. Montgomery do during the month of March, because I think they are the difference maker for this team if they are a national championship team or not. Pretty much know what you're going to get from those other 6 or 7 spots.
Reed Nico in with Tillman on the bench and 2 fouls. Pretty good pass there from Geis, but it goes off the hands of 14. Cuonzo Martin is wired tonight for us. Here he is talking some defense.
Got to turn up on defense, man. Got to embrace that challenge with P.J. Washington. That man come out there, pin down. You got to be tight. This guy got to be in there. This guy got to see it. He got to be off and in. This big helping. Let's go. Together.
It's amazing, too, isn't it? The teams that have success, as Hero fires from way downtown, play the best defense. Feels like every college team can score, but it's defense that makes the difference, and we're going to get a Kentucky timeout. Good hustle by Nick Richards.
Ravi, to your point, Kentucky only allowing 88.3 points per 100 possessions in league play. That's Virginia-like numbers. That's the elite defense that Calipari has put on that floor right now in the SEC.
Apparently Richards had his back on the line or called for a travel. No timeout called, even though he was trying. A turnover and a pick that sends Immanuel quickly to the floor, and he's banged up.
Well, that's on E.J. Montgomery. Montgomery's guy was setting the back screen on Hagans. And Montgomery got off of him too far, and Hagans just got smoked.
Quickly.
I mean, yeah, quickly gets smoked right there. And that's Montgomery was checking the on-ball defender, and not even in the picture. to allow quickly to work through it.
Did you see an elbow? Because Calipari was telling Don Daly perhaps there was an elbow that came flying out. I didn't see one.
Yeah, I didn't see him lift it up. I just thought that was a hard screen in the backcourt that
Thought he's convinced the officials to go and look at it. And Immanuel Quickley looks like he's a little disoriented.
Ravi, Kentucky does a good job of jamming the point guard as they bring it up. That's what they're doing right here. Knowing that, you have to be alert, understanding that teams are going to start screening the jam. And as the defense goes to the other end of the floor, a defender assigned to 5 in yellow, not engaged.
I didn't see it. I did think he ran right into his shoulder. And as you know, when you're trying to defend that as opposed to a screen on the offensive side of the court, there's nobody there to yell.
Absolutely.
To help you.
Yeah.
Kind of a rough introduction to the game for Immanuel Quickley.
A little bit. Boy, how physical was that game between Kentucky and Tennessee? Bodies all over the floor. Surprised how Kentucky just punished Tennessee in that area.
So Xavier Pinson will go to the free throw line, trying to make this a 1-point game. And the soft touch goes. Pinson has been dominant off the rebounding glass. The last 2 games, he's had 9 rebounds each game. How about their game against Ole Miss, in which they lost? They out-rebounded them 37-21.
Yes, and lost the game. Rebounding advantage by 16, but they coughed it up, what, 23, 24 times?
25 times.
That's where you lose that possession battle. Just a lot of pin-down action by Kentucky to test Missouri's defense early.
Travis goes one-on-one with KJ Santos, unable to do anything with it. Pinson will push, near turnover. And Mark Smith into the lane with a floater, no good. And Hero, coming off a big rebound game himself, delivers the first rebound.
Probably the best defensive rebounder Kentucky has right now is Tyler Hero. I'm not so sure he's now not the best overall defender that Kentucky puts on the floor. The way he chases screeners, the way he guards the ball, covers up rotations, and fixes problems.
Guys, we see Missouri's Mark Smith back on the floor. Of course, he did return in their last game against Ole Miss. He's dealing with an injury to his 5th metatarsal in the left foot, and it's just something that's bothered him all the way back to high school. He continually re-injures it. He says he's at about 75% right now, just trying to tough it out. It was very frustrating watching from the bench as he sits back down in this one. It's something that they have to manage, though, and he said basically he has a deal with Cuonzo Martin where if it's bothering him, he just asks to get out of the game so he can rest it a little bit. Not much more he can do to re-injure it, not much more they can do to keep it healthy other than rest.
Frustrating for him, and they really missed that outside presence with his 3-point shooting. Jamal Baker into the game, had it deflected away. It's picked up by Travis. Higgins with 3 on the shot clock. The battle for the rebound won by Pickett.
Missouri is not going to let Reed Travis and P.J. Washington shoot jump hooks in this game. That double team is coming hot and early on the touch.
Down the lane goes Smith, and he gets that one to go. Mitchell Smith, the redshirt sophomore.
Just a little bit of a ball fake. Kentucky loses their discipline. And Missouri has the lead because of it.
And the crowd here on its feet. Travis had Washington on the baseline for a dunk. Good look from Reed Travis.
Well, that was well done by Reed Travis to sprint out of that ball screen action, receive the pass, and then become a passer himself. We talked about it early. You just don't know as a coach how your guys are going to respond from a win like they had against Tennessee. And it has to be a little bit of concern right now for Cal, 8 minutes in.
Hero run out, Pickett try to hack him, and he did, and that'll send Hero to the free throw line.
To me, that's an F1 you go look at. That was not an honest play on the ball in a guy in a breakaway situation. Calipari's calling for the same thing.
They may do that. 12-11, we'll take a timeout, under 12 to go. You take a look at that foul as we go to break.
Is this an honest play on the basketball from the defender? No, that is not. That is a wrap-up of a guy going in for a layup, and you look at that on the monitor. I don't see how there's any way you don't at least go look at this one.
I don't see them doing that.
If you're a shooter lacking confidence, you should understand how big a rim really is. It's not the county fair type rim. That can actually fit through an actual college rim. Two basketballs at once, Laura, can actually go through at the exact same time. How about that for the size of it?
How about this?
A big fucking Gatorade cooler. Yes,
no way.
A big Gatorade cooler can actually fit through a college rim.
Carry-on luggage?
No. Rutledge carry-on luggage. Will that fit? I think it will. Yes, carry-on luggage goes through the rim. How about a Laura Rutledge? Can a Laura Rutledge fit through the rim?
Let's see.
I think you can. I think you can.
I'm huge, by the way. So this is amazing.
You are huge.
I'm in.
Nice. A Laura, is there anything in here that doesn't fit through a rim?
How do you ever miss? Hold that for a second.
How do you ever miss?
Guarantee that this will not fit. Big
Huge.
ball, Ravi. Boom.
Yeah. Wow.
Dunkage.
Now, surprising how big a real rim is, though, huh?
Right.
Jimmy Dykes wanted to teach everybody. I asked a question. I mean, like, Kentucky's one of their last 5. It's a lot bigger than I think people at home think.
Absolutely it is. You know, about once a year when I was an assistant coach and a head coach, you lower the rim down and you show your guys, look, 2 basketballs fit through this thing at once. And just kind of opens their eyes back up to, you know, mentally helping them make shots. But it's surprising the things that you can fit through a rim. 10 years ago, I put my dog through the rim on TV, but I couldn't bring him with me this trip. But a lot of extra space up there for that ball to go in.
That can work both ways because the guys could also say, my gosh, it's a lot bigger. I really can't shoot, can I?
Yeah.
Jimmy Dykes was correct. They took a while to decide whether to look at it. Then they went to look at it.
Well, when you grab from behind like that, that's what got the officials' attention to go look at it at the monitor. And they have now upgraded what was a common foul to an F1 foul, and that's the right call. Agree with it, disagree with it, whatever. That's the right call because I think we have to really get on top of these breakaway situations where guys are in a vulnerable position, starting to leave the ground. They lose their balance, and there's a really good job by Michael Stevens, Don Daly, and Pat Adams to get that one correct.
91% free throw shooter, Tyler Hero. It's interesting what Tyler Hero said after the Tennessee game, that Grant Williams may be a little scared of P.J. Washington. Now, he then sort of said, I think everybody's scared of P.J. Washington, but what did you make of that?
Well, I think that's the swagger, first of all, that Hero has brought to this team. He brings a lot of things to Kentucky, but I think it's that swagger, that confidence that 14 in blue brings. There's no back down in this guy. And maybe they sense something in that game. I know this. That matchup in 2 weeks in Knoxville is going to be a bloodbath. Because they expect PJ to have to play in a crowd in the next game. He played in no crowd Saturday night.
Guys, Coach Cal in the Kentucky huddle just now wanting better post play, saying if we post and they swarm on that, we got to get it back out and then repost. Also saying he wants more baskets in transition. If they rebound, he's looking for them to run.
Javon Pickett all the way to the rack, high off the window. There's a rebound from PJ, and they get some numbers. And Hero making a living finding himself in that corner, and all of a sudden he's run off the last 6.
How quickly Kentucky got the ball to the third side of the floor, Ravi, on that possession. What's like 5 or 6 seconds it had touched the third side of the floor. Well done.
He's got 10, Hero, and the largest lead of the night, Kentucky by 8. Defense has been ramped up a little bit, and Geist with 4 on the shot clock has to fire one up. Much better defense by Kentucky.
Yeah, really protecting the elbows, Kentucky is with their defense.
Keldon Johnson.
The last possession, Ravi, watch the ball movement and how quickly the ball gets to the third side of the floor. They're going to flood the floor with runners. And the throw ahead, there's the first side. There's a second side. They come right back around to the third side within about 5 or 6 seconds. About as well as you can play fast on the offensive end.
Sean Calipari is really laying into Ashton Hagans here. He's brought him back out again and quickly is into the game.
Hagans has not played well overall the last 2 weeks. Now, he answered the bell against Tennessee. But the 2 weeks prior to that, Ashton Hagans has been in a little bit of a funk and gotten away from who he is. And that's guard the dadgum basketball hotter than anybody else in college ball. And he's kind of gotten away from it a little bit.
Mark Smith back into the game, just picked up a foul on Keldon Johnson. Jordan Geist, the leading scorer on Missouri, hasn't gotten on track yet. Set up that play. That may have been deflected by the defender, PJ, but it's good. Three-pointer for Ronnie Suggs. He's been good tonight. He's got 5.
That was just a late recovery to a shooter. Kentucky just not on edge so far in this game. I know they have the lead, but the edge that Cal is expecting from his guys is not there.
We saw Tennessee a little sluggish tonight. Did that game take it out of both teams, maybe?
Absolutely, it could have.
Quickly knocks down a 3, so he's okay after that collision to start the game.
The double team came on P.J. Washington, and one quick look to the other side of the floor just chewed that double team up.
Suggs and Smith, a little two-man game with a high screen and 8 to go. He launches a 3 too strong. In traffic, Travis picks it up, and he's going to get called for a travel. Physical game here, and a little extra from Reed Travis and Jordan Geist that the officials get right in the middle of.
We see Jordan Geist right there, Ravi, and he is known for enjoying a little bit of trash talk. But another reason why he's been talking lately, he actually called a players-only meeting about a week ago as this Missouri team's leader and said, hey, guys, it hasn't gone our way lately. We can make that decision to make it go better for ourselves. That was his message to his guys, and it was well received. A couple of the other Missouri players saying it was necessary and that they needed to take that initiative themselves. We'll see how that factors in for the remainder of this game as well.
Well, take a look at this as Geist and Travis are down on the floor, and then Geist kind of steps over him. P.J. Washington comes in and nudges him out of the way. But if you're looking to muck it up, which may be the way Missouri can stay in this game, early on they're succeeding.
Well, Geist is a great muck-it-upper.
Yeah.
And he's a tough-as-nails kid that has a lot of respect from every coach in this league. And when he speaks, like Laura talked about, that entire Missouri team listens because they know this kid brings it every single possession, every day.
Is muck it upper like stick-to-itiveness? Like
it is.
Kind of created a word?
In that same thing, yeah. Really pushing PJ off the block. He was not getting his touches there against Tennessee. He was getting him in the paint.
Quickly too strong. Good rebound by Reed. Nico. Got a couple of Reeds and Travis and Nico going at each other.
Ravi, if Missouri can keep this a 10-point game at halftime without Jeremiah Tillman, that's a win for Missouri, right?
Sure, that is. Tillman again, 2 early fouls. Per year, 2 early fouls. He's back in the game. Made a good move, but he missed a little bunny. Reed Travis gets called for an elbow of his own. Talk about the 4-man for a second as you look at Travis and that foul, because you mentioned Missouri hasn't gotten much production from the 4-man. Think about a guy like P.J. Washington who can be a 4. Why is that such an important position on the floor?
Well, it is, especially for Missouri. First of all, watch Reed Travis. That right elbow, boom, right there. That right elbow dislodging the defender, that's an automatic call. For Missouri's offense, the way Konzo likes to play, Ravi, everything goes through the 4-man. And he told us earlier today, I was blown away by it. That combination of the 4 position for him has not had a double-figure game yet in conference play. Think about that.
Baker, the trailer, is going to get a foul on Torrance Watson. He'll be shooting free throws when we come back. Under 8 to go. Kentucky up by 7. Bring Duke and North Carolina for the 27th time. It has at least one of the teams as the #1 team. Carolina 12-2 in their last 14 games, and they have not lost on the road. Duke 9 wins by 20 or more, and 18-1 in their last 19. There are times when you watch Duke and they look like they can't be beaten.
Well, it was the last 9.5 minutes at Louisville last Tuesday night when I was there with Reese Davis after your guys' game in Lexington. When they flipped the switch, and they flipped the switch by Coach K going to a zone down 20 on the road. But you don't question a Hall of Fame coach. He knew exactly what he's wanting out of his guys. And he talked about walking the talk and being a leader even when you don't feel like it. And I know the words were powerful to his guys in those timeouts. As I am saying afterwards, Coach told us, I don't coach losers. And that's how we're playing right now. And man, when they decided to go, it was over.
So you have good perspective. You've seen every SEC team more than once. How do the Tennessees and Kentuckys and even LSU's compare as Geist makes a tough shot with Duke?
Well, I think they're right there with them on a neutral floor. I really do. And we're going to reveal the jet later on and probably back up who I have in first class, how I feel about Kentucky and Virginia and Duke and Tennessee.
E.J. Montgomery, no. Rebound, P.J., yes, and we got an injury. Mitchell Smith down to the floor. Didn't see what the contact was, but Conzo Martin's not happy about it. He's staring out at the officials.
That elbow maybe in the back of the neck area. What he's holding, P.J., that's just inadvertent. Washington coming down on top of him.
Montgomery's elbow came down
Montgomery's
on top
elbow, yeah.
Well, while they look at that, you do believe on a neutral floor that all three of the top teams in the SEC can compete with Duke?
I do, and you've seen LSU. They got dudes now, and Tremont Waters is a slippery, slick point guard. I love the individual talent of Duke. They're potential going to win the national championship. I get that, but in terms of older, experienced teams, Virginia, Tennessee, and this Kentucky team growing up in front of our eyes, Ravi, Gonzaga. I think the national champion comes out of those 5 teams right now. I don't think there's one out of the Big Ten.
Right.
I think Purdue will win the Big Ten, but I don't think they're a national champion contender.
Mitchell Smith comes off the floor and a little groggy. That's a lot of weight and a sharp elbow coming down inadvertently from E.J. Montgomery, who goes 6'10", 225.
It's just an unfortunate basketball play is what that is. Nothing intentional about Montgomery. He can't control how he's coming down, and wrong place at the wrong time.
But given the foul trouble they're in, you lose another 6'10" guy with this injury. And they'll be pressed over the last 7 minutes of this first half. Geist, good shooter, steps into that one, and he gets the front of the iron.
Calipari expects P.J. Washington to be a 90% attempt rebounder. Doesn't mean he's going to get him all the time, but 90% of the time, he expects 25 in blue to get on that board.
Wow, how much has that stroke improved over the course of just this season?
Absolutely. Yeah, he was struggling with a little bit in November. But right now, it is quick and sure. Come out of that catch spot.
27-17, lead to 10, largest of the night.
I find it interesting that Calipari grades his guys on attempts to rebound. Go back through and grade that film. Are you attempting to go to the boards? Are you attempting to do heavy work for us? And that 90% is about what you want everybody to be grading out at.
Geist nearly got trapped. Watson will throw up a 3 at the shot clock buzzer. No good. Offensive work by Puryear. No foul called. Looked like he may have lost it on the way up, or deflected by E.J. Montgomery.
Puryear struggles with length. He got one good ball fake in, but Montgomery was the second guy off the floor.
Can't let him shoot the way he's on tonight. That one off the back iron will keep it right here. A couple of seconds ago, we hear from Conzo Martin.
Get ready, Cal. Get ready, Cal. Read. Get ready, read. Read, get ready. Get ready, guys. Get ready, guys. Hey! That's our ball.
Conzo, of course, born in 1971 and played at Purdue. It's like having a sixth man just not on the floor, because he's into every play. It's like if he could have a uniform, he'd really want to have a uniform on.
Yes, he coaches a tough brand of ball, and he played a tough brand of ball. He comes out of that Eddie Sutton, Gene Cady lineage in terms of how the game's supposed to be played. You hear him holler hands every time Kentucky rises up for a shot. He wants those shots challenged with high hands. He's a tough, tough guy.
Puryear gets the free throw to go. After a discussion, they called the foul on E.J. Montgomery. The officials had two different calls. But Don Daly overruled Pat Adams and said, nope, I had clear out on E.J. Montgomery. It's a big 5 minutes and 31 seconds of this half. You mentioned the 10-point advantages. They're going to take Mitchell Smith back to the locker room.
Lift his head, the athletic training staff working on the back of his neck, but he's in a lot of pain. We'll update you if we find out more.
A steady dose of pin down, curl, post up out of Kentucky.
What a great move by Nick Richards. And every time he scores, if you look at Coach Calipari, he gets excited. He thinks there's so much in Nick Richards.
I said it earlier. I think he and E.J. are the two guys that will determine how far this Kentucky team goes.
Puryear, not the shot they want there. And now with a lead of 10, Kentucky tries to add to it. There's a steal. Hagens dribbled right into that. And Suggs all the way to the basket, misses a layup. Try to avoid a foul and ended up missing the rim.
Where was Hagens taking the ball? Just keep it at 10 points is all Cuonzo's thinking until he can get Jeremiah Tillman back on the floor to start the second half.
Geist going to get called for the offensive foul. Good job by Keldon Johnson.
Really good footwork by Nick Richards. That came off of a pin down and a post up. And watch the big step right there. Man, that covered a lot of space. Stepping through with that right foot. That move, watch how far he goes. From outside the lane to the other side of the rim with that big, long stride and a quick stride out of 4 in blue.
Off a game in which they had 25 turnovers. Missouri just turned it over for the 6th time tonight. Keldon Johnson and the bucket.
Kentucky has seen Missouri defensively struggle handling pin down action. And it's been a heavy dose of it by Kentucky in this game. Just simply pinning down, headhunter screen down, whatever term you want to use. 4 in blue with a pin down, the tight curl, the wrap is well done by Keldon Johnson and the strength to go through the contact.
How about the mid-air adjustment? For a second, it looked like he was going to try to throw an alley-oop to Nick Richards, and instead, Johnson ends up shooting and converting the 3-point play.
And Ravi, we heard Cuonzo talking about it during the Wired segment. He was talking his guys through about that pin down action, how the big has to step up and help. They're just getting chewed up by that simple action of Kentucky.
P.J. Washington deflected it away. Reed Nico will try one from the baseline. It won't go. And that was Calipari's comment about Tyler Hero in the game against Tennessee where he had so many rebounds. He said, you know why? He went for him.
Because he went for it. He grades out high in that attempt area. He is their best overall defender, Tyler Hero.
They're going to get P.J. Washington with a moving screen. 32-19, 3 minutes, 27 seconds away from Chris Cotter and the halftime show.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's new Made to Crave menu, available at participating restaurants now.
As expected, Jimmy, a lot of blue in this land of black and gold. Kentucky up 32-19.
Missouri struggling with the pin down action. Now hold it right here, guys. This defender has to be up the line a little bit more and be there to check this curl action that Kentucky continues to put on. As that ball gets reversed up top, that gold defender has to step up right there. He's late to the step up. 14 in gold, not engaged. Reed Nico that time, but it's been several guys, Ravi, that they're just off. They're not engaged, helping the curl action. Kentucky just chewing it up right now in the first half.
Again, Jeremiah Tillman on the bench, 2 fouls. He's only played 5 minutes. Washington, the hero, shooting 7 of 11. The rest of the team 4 of 12. They've combined for 21 of the 32 points. 3-point shooting, 5 of 12. And Missouri only 2 of 8. Jordan Geist 1 of 4 from the floor. 3 total points. Geist is averaging about 15 a game. Nico wide open, and he shuffled his way to a dunk.
Yeah, somebody's coming out because just miscommunication. Allow a guy to just step in naked on the backside for a duck in.
That is unstoppable.
He's playing as well as anybody in the country. I know Zion Williamson's going to win the National Player of the Year award, as he should, but PJ is going to be right there in that top 4 or 5 in the country when it's all said and done.
That was a good look, and Santos wasn't ready for it. Good pass from Hinson. Hey, rivalry week. How about Saturday? And how about the noon matchup? Number 5, Tennessee, off a win tonight, squares off against LSU. Tigers got a tough game tomorrow night. They'll take on Florida. And at 6, Zion, RJ, Cam, number 1 Duke, Syracuse, Carrier Dome. Both games live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. So it's noon and 6 for those 2 games as rivalry week continues on Saturday.
Syracuse is built to give Duke problems again because of that zone. And they can, they're not a 2 for 21 3-point team, but they're also not a 50% 3-point team. They're somewhere in the middle, and Duke will be tested again in that game.
PJ Washington is coming real easy for number 25.
Here's the problem trying to play Kentucky man-to-man. Their top 3 scorers, KJ, Tyler Hero, and PJ, are all 3- and 4-dimensional offensive guys. You can't take them out of the game, Ravi, because they have a counter if you do try to take them out.
Smith off again, down to the floor again, goes quickly. He's helped up by PJ Washington, so Superman makes buckets and he picks up teammates. This time it looks like the left elbow that Emmanuel quickly is shaken. He's smiling because he's getting knocked around. Little timeout call by Coach Cal. Give number 5 a breather. Back in 30.
Talk about Tyler Hero finishing off defensive possessions. Ravi, he rebounds against the other 9 guys on the floor. He could have very well stood there and watched Quickly get the rebound, but he just comes in and gets his. That was supposed to be Quickly's rebound, and Tyler Hero says, thank you very much, I'll take it from you. That's what great defensive rebounders do. They rebound against the other 9, not the other 5.
Tyler Hero is figuring that part of this game out.
Yes, he is.
4 rebounds in this game already. You can contribute in so many different ways. Hagens a turnover. Maybe a crisis of confidence right now for Ashton Hagens.
And that's never good. You can't feed the elbow when the guy backs off of you, Hagens, and sits on top of the elbow receiver.
All night long, he did that against Tennessee. This time a little further away from the basket. But how about the aggressive effort by Washington, which led to a Nick Richards layup?
The best offensive rebounders, Ravi, they accept the punishment every game, and that's what Washington does. He accepts the punishment and plays through the punishment.
Mark Smith, ball blocked by Keldon Johnson. Tyler Hero open on the right side. Instead, it's Johnson who finds him. They are moving really well without the basketball, Kentucky. And they've opened up a 15-point lead with 46 to go.
Yeah, they're snapping passes, aren't they? The ball is hot and the movement is hot. Kentucky's so good at touching the outer thirds of the floor in the half court.
Hero step back 3, long. Pickett nowhere to go, and he traveled with it. He ran into literally a tree of blue.
Yeah, nowhere to go is a great description. Just lowering your head and not having a plan. And hope is not a plan.
I mean, for every kid going into a class, hoping that this is going to go well, even though I haven't studied?
No, that's hope
is not a plan.
That's not a plan. I learned that about my sophomore year in high school.
I like that.
Hope is not a plan.
What's your plan, son? Hope? Nope. That's a good one. Alley-oop, Nick Richards. And Immanuel quickly fed it to him.
Well, any hangover from Kentucky punishing Tennessee has been flushed out of their system. Very well done by Kentucky in this game. It's a late ball screen, a ghost screen by P.J. Washington to fake the ball screen and then drive down the pipe on the right side. And Cal's guys over the years have been so good at throwing to the big on the opposite side of the rim. About as well as you can execute a late clock situation in the half.
I'm not suggesting that they have any type of controversy, but Immanuel Quickley's play and Ashton Hagen's play, it's tipping a little bit right now to Quickley. And I'm not suggesting there's going to be a change, but Quickley's playing terrific.
I agree with you, and that's good news for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because now Hagen's going to have to fight back and continue to earn his minutes. That's exactly what you want from a coaching standpoint.
No good as the effort from Pinson drew iron, and that's it. 41 points for Kentucky in this first half. They led for almost 18 minutes of the game's first 20. Laura?
All right, Coach, coming off a win over then #1 Tennessee, how are your guys responding?
I didn't hear what you said, but I tell you, these kids are playing hard game to play following the emotion of that game. Really happy for Nick Richards. We need Nick to be big for us, and he did today. Now, it's hard to score around the rim when he's in there. PJ's playing like he's played. He's right now player of the week in the country, so we just got to keep it going.
Thanks, Coach. It's loud in here, Ravi.
Well, he answered your question, so you guys are on the same mind wave. Rutledge and Cal. P.J. Washington, 15 points, 41-23. Cotter Greenberg Williams with the Chief halftime report following a short commercial break. It is presented by Boost Mobile. This is the SEC on ESPN. Tennessee holds court. They win earlier. And now Kentucky trying to do the same. LSU plays tomorrow night. 41-23. And so far the story of the game, P.J. Washington. That's the good. The bad for Cuonzo Martin is P.J. Washington.
Got to put a stop to P.J., guys. Got to put a stop to him. Got to take pride in God. He's doing everything right now.
Yeah, he's doing everything. That's because he's a 3- or 4-dimensional player. Just pounds you on the offensive glass. He's terrific in the middle part of the floor, playing off the bounce or through jump shots. He attacks the rim, and that's why it's so hard to take him out of the game, Ravi, because you take away one part of his game, he's got a counter to it, like a good pitcher that you follow in Major League Baseball.
I like what you're doing there. Flipping the switch, brought to you by Boost Mobile. It's P.J. Washington. He is certainly zeroing in on another 20-point game. His last 8, he's averaged 21. He's 5 away from his 10th 20-point game. And between P.J. Washington's 15 and Tyler Hero's 10, they're outscoring Missouri, the two of them by 2 points, 25-23.
The last 3 weeks, P.J. Washington has been a manic competitor. The most competitive dude on the floor is also producing huge numbers.
Nick Richards starts. And there's Tillman back as Richards fell to the floor. And the offensive rebound for Tillman.
Missouri's head coach Cuonzo Martin said that Jeremiah Tillman had to come out here and wipe the slate clean. Told him not to play emotional. Told him not to take the referees from the first half with him into the second half. Of course, you can think about the way that Tillman may have felt about those fouls he got in the first half. Also talking about P.J. Washington, he added on some more praise. He said, man, he's better than I thought he was. He's improved a ton.
Jordan Geist knocks the 3 down, Laura, and that right away leads to a Calipari timeout. Another Hagen's turnover in that exchange. So Ashton Hagen's struggles continue. He's got 1 assist and now 4 turnovers.
I think it leads to not only a timeout, it could lead to a couple of substitutions.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's new Made to Crave menu, available at participating restaurants now.
5-0 run here to start the second half for Missouri. Jimmy Dykes, Carl Ravage, Laura Rutledge alongside as well. Ashton Hagen still on the floor. 1 assist, 4 turnovers in a conference that has so many great point guards. When he's right at the top of that. But right now something's going on.
Yeah, if Kentucky's going to win the national championship, he's got to get back to being what he was during the month of January. I think it's interesting. He's turning the ball over right now once every 4 minutes in this game. Calipari didn't take him out, though, in that timeout. I thought he might. But it might be a situation, Ravi, as a coach, you realize if I jerk him out now, maybe his confidence starts to waver. So Cal's going to leave him in here right now and try to play through some mistakes and get his motor going again.
Well, Jimmy, that's exactly what Coach Cal is thinking with Ashton Hagans, telling him in that last huddle, I'm going to stick with you, but if you get the ball in your hands, you've either got to shoot or you've got to try to drive it up the middle and make something happen. Get it out to your guys. Get that ball moving around quickly and stop thinking. He knows that sticking with Hagans can at least help him with confidence, hopefully. The other message was to Nick Richards. He said, I rewarded you with what you did in the first half by starting you in the second half, and then you get out there and don't have the footwork that I want to see. He wants to see better play from Richards, and as you guys talked about, wants to get Richards as much playing time as possible and getting him that experience now.
We're going to get steps there. Looks like Pickett's foot slipped on the ground. It's an interesting conversation. I know you, and I heard Seth Greenberg say that you guys believe E.J. Montgomery is going to be a big key for them. I think E.J. Montgomery's got all the talent in the world, but I'm not sure this year that he's that guy. I just know that Calipari wants Richards to be that guy.
Well, I think he sees Nick as the defender that could make the difference, and he likes the offensive ability, I think, out of Montgomery. So probably a combination of both. But to your point, Richards being a year older should be the guy that steps up in the month of March.
One-on-one, see what P.J. Washington has. He got fouled, and he nearly got it to go. A foul on Xavier Pinson. SportsCenter's next. Bucci and Levy, good hockey night. They'll look at the impact of Manny Machado's deal with the Padres. If you haven't heard, that's a 10-year, $300 million deal with a 5-year out. R.J. Barrett talks with Maria Taylor about the Tobacco Road rivalry, and there's a lot more. What's behind the NBA's offensive explosion? Jimmy, what's behind the NBA's offensive explosion?
The rules. You can't guard anybody in the league. Very simple.
SportsCenter's next right here on ESPN and the app.
P.J. Washington does his work early. You have to remember, it wasn't raining when Noah built the arc either, right?
Right, it was not.
You have to do your work early, and this guy's starting to do that on that low block. His positioning, he plays low and loaded. He spreads out wide. And this Kentucky offense is anchored by those left block touches of P.J. Washington.
16 of the game for P.J. Washington. The lead stays at 14. See if they continue to try to get that ball down low to Tillman. Mark Smith ran all over the place to get open for that three, and he continues to struggle coming off that ankle injury.
Kentucky did a good job of chasing him on his outside shoulder, though, to not get clipped off by those baseline screens.
Crowd wanted a walk on Washington. Hagans launches a three. Got it.
There you go. That's why you stick with it. Play through a little bit of a dry spell. You have the lead to do it. That's a veteran move by Calipari instead of jerking him out and risking the confidence continue to go in a downward spiral.
Tillman working hard with P.J. Washington on him. Smith another three, and that one just off. And again, he's coming off of a 6-game ankle injury. This is his second game back. He is 0 of 4 from three-point land, and that's a near 50% shooter from three. Tough shot. P.J. Washington doesn't go.
And a little bit of force there by P.J. early in the shot clock and took it through traffic.
Guys, that's a block by E.J. Montgomery. And Keldon's going to get fouled on the floor. About the rim protection from E.J.
Well, it's a problem for college basketball to deal with when you got 7-footers backed up by 7-footers, and Kentucky's so good, their bigs are, at coming off and being the second guy off the floor. Geis is a tough kid, but just he's not going to finish over the size of Kentucky in this game at the rim.
So you got Hagans with Kentucky. We got Tremont Waters with LSU. You got Bone with Tennessee. How do you grade out the point guards?
Well, you asked me that earlier today. Jordan Bone would be my first pick if I had to pick a guard from this league to try to win a championship with, because I think he's a little bit more consistent on both ends of the floor. He has tremendous speed. He's a terrific defender. Now Hagans can still light you up as an on-ball defender. He's get a piece of the paint point guard offensively. Tremont Waters is slippery, but he can be exposed at times too on the defensive end. But those 3 guys are all different. They're all outstanding. But Jordan Bone now is playing like a future pro at that point guard spot for Rick Barnes.
And Hagans was so good. He and Quickly were so good against Bone in that game against Tennessee. They were good. – 17-point advantage, Kentucky. Hagans will launch again. Stepped into that one beautifully, and he was wide open. Part of the plan was to let Hagans do that because he's not great at it, and he's made a couple here.
Yeah, they're doubling down on PJ with Hagans defender. So Hagans just slides into the view of PJ and makes him pay. Well, almost.
Geist. That goes.
All started with going for a gamble. You don't come up with a gamble. Now you got free passing around the perimeter.
February 19th. Is it time? Do I hear like jet engines?
I think you do. I think you're going to hear the jet engines roaring.
Jimmy's jet is returning. What do we got on that? We got first class?
We got first class, we have business class, and then we have teams tonight at the back of the plane, not in the good seats, that should not get very comfortable because they're one loss away from getting the boot. You know, like I'm saying, that the flight attendant is walking towards the back of the plane saying, excuse me, we're overbooked and you have to leave.
So the jet is on the runway.
Yeah, renovated, leather seats throughout, new TVs everywhere, and it's cleared for takeoff. How about that?
Finally been cleared for takeoff. We waited weeks for this.
First class, I'm going with Duke, Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Kentucky kicking the back of the seat of Duke, by the way, trying to irritate him. Right there in business class, waiting for a slip-up. Gonzaga, Purdue, who I think will win the Big Ten, North Carolina, and Kelvin Sampson's Houston Cougars. Back there in coach by the blue water where you don't want to be sitting, Alabama, Minnesota, Temple, and TCU. You are one loss away from saying we need your seat. Don't store your luggage. Don't get comfortable. Don't buckle your seatbelt because you're in the back of the plane and you're on the plane. Water. You don't want to sit by the blue water. That's never good. But those teams at the back of the plane, you're on right now, but you cannot get comfortable.
You're in danger of being tossed.
Just almost 4 weeks till Selection Sunday. And
that looked more like Air Vital than it did a 68-seater.
Yeah, it sure did. We could use that tonight getting to St. Louis, by the way, couldn't we?
I saw about 14 seats on that bad boy.
But notice I have 2 teams out of the SEC and 2 out of the ACC up there in first class. I think those are the 4 best teams.
But not necessarily your top 4 seeds right now in the tournament, or would they be?
Well, those 4 would be.
They would be.
Gonzaga would be my first number 2 seed.
Okay.
I think they're waiting for a slip-up. I just look at those teams in a power conference and what they're doing, and Joe Lunardi's, all he has done is flip Gonzaga and Kentucky. I just have Kentucky up there instead of Gonzaga in first class, but I'm not a big believer in Michigan State with injuries right now, or Michigan, either one out of the Big Ten. I'm going to reward Purdue and Houston for the year they're having. But no one can feel comfortable. I know those teams have been cleared through TSA pre-check and they're on the jet, but those seat assignments can change in a hurry.
The top 4 have the clear. I mean, they've gone past.
Oh yeah, they're on. They're good. They're sitting there getting peanuts before we take off, but they could be asked to move from first class to business class and vice versa. Depends on how you act between now and Selection Sunday. But just picture Kentucky kicking the back of Duke in first class.
I think they'd enjoy that.
And Duke turns around and says, "What? Wait, I thought we were through with you." No, you're not through with us. We're right up here with you again, and we may see you at some point as we head towards Minneapolis.
Hagans has scored the last 8 for Kentucky. That jet had a pretty nice runway, too, to roll on. A little ESPN runway.
That was sweet, wasn't it?
I mean, it was worth the wait.
It was well worth the wait. Look at that ESPN runway right there.
Tell you what, those trucks over there, they're pretty confident that those planes aren't going to go bang into them.
Yes. now, see, those trucks on the left are for the teams that I say you have to go to the NIT bus terminal later on.
Ooh. Yeah, you don't want that. At least not at this stage. It's only February 19th. But the Jet back in service. Uh-oh. Right in the eye, Higgins clipped Jordan Geist.
Just hot hands around the ball, just unintentionally got Geist across the nose. Watch Higgins, right? Bam, right there. Digging up, and easy call to make.
They're going to take a look at this, and this again just felt like the same thing we saw earlier with E.J. Montgomery.
It's just an unfortunate basketball play.
Yeah, speaking of which, we've seen a few hard plays in this game actually lead to injury. And this one right here on Mitchell Smith, hitting the back of the neck there, just incidental contact. And right after that, in a lot of pain on the bench, they ended up taking him to the locker room. I am told by Missouri that he is in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
Not likely to return to this game. So, of course, Missouri down a man that could be important as they try to make a comeback here.
Right. All sorts of steps you have to go through once you get into the concussion protocol before you're eligible to return to any form of basketball practice or game.
Yeah, just a common foul, just an unfortunate basketball play. Higgins trying to swipe up with the basketball. We'll take a look at it and move on.
Richards back in the game and being backed in by Tillman. Pretty good spin move there. And that's the potential that Jeremiah Tillman brings to this team.
Yeah, that was beautiful footwork by Tillman to get his defender just on the outside shoulder and to slip back with the left paw finish.
Reed Travis is up. Because of that play by Tillman, is Nick Richards coming out of the game?
Most likely. Lost his balance, lost his leverage.
3 on the shot clock, and Hero, he was fading to the left and able to knock that shot down.
Yeah, he makes hard shots, and a little bit of hand action. P.J. Washington after the play. The game has been chippy the entire ball game. After the ball goes through, Hero makes a hard guarded shot, and Kentucky was very good, by the way, in the first half off it. And just the elbow comes up a little bit with Washington, and Kentucky in the first half was 10 out of 21 on guarded shots. The ability to make hard shots with their length, very impressive.
So yes, in fact, Travis back in. Richards goes to the bench. Tillman tries to go back to work, this time double teamed. And Geist. Two on the shot clock. Too strong, but the offensive rebound for Javon Pickett. He knocks down a 3. Good hustle there, and the crowd appreciative of that effort.
Yeah, Missouri got bailed out because the entire possession, the ball was stuck on the far side of the floor, even coming out of the double team. But a hustle play and a fight back by Missouri and a huge 3.
Hall of Fame coach Calipari, he's got his players every year to improve the zero tolerance policy for somebody like Nick Richards.
He has a zero tolerance policy, right?
And you're comfortable with that?
Well, I think he goes with his gut, because had he had a zero tolerance policy, Higgins would have been jerked the first 2 or 3 minutes of the second half.
Yep.
So he trusts his gut, and well, he has done a tremendous job. He should certainly be the National Coach of the Year, considering what he's done so far this year from where they were on opening night against Duke.
No question. Suggs drives, and there's Reed Travis to help on the defensive end, and Kentucky wins the 50-50 battle. Alley-oop. Washington with a flush.
Well, they can put it on you in a hurry, can't they, Kentucky? PJ is so good at running the middle third of the floor. Higgins, Hero, all those guys can run and pass with terrific accuracy from 35, 40 feet away.
And another good moment in this game for Ashton Hagans. Geist into trouble. We got a 2-on-1 with Hagans and Johnson. Not the prettiest and not even effective. And bodies down, Reed Travis down, grabbing his right knee as Geist has that ball blocked by Washington. Heroes 3 misses, and on the floor goes Geist. It's getting real chippy. I think Reed Travis is very concerned about his right knee.
Well, both teams need a timeout.
Yeah, Calipari wants him to call it timeout.
You have to get Reed out of the ball game.
Reed Travis slowly to the Kentucky bench. We'll take a timeout. Calipari calls it. 10:24 to go. We'll keep an eye on 22 for Kentucky.
Presented by Wendy's. We saw Kentucky's veteran Reed Travis going to the locker room dealing with a right knee injury. We'll get you updates as soon as we have them. He was able to walk off reasonably well under his own power. Now, one thing that means with Reed Travis going out is we could see more of Nick Richards. And one of the reasons outside of just basketball ability and potential that Coach Cal wants to get Richards more playing time and more reps is because he says that Richards is working harder than anybody in the gym and has been even leading up to this season. He wants to reward that hard work. He said almost nobody works harder than Richards, and sometimes it just doesn't always translate to the court the way they want it to. But Richards did tell me, guys, that he feels like his endurance is at a place that it never was before. No matter how many minutes he plays in a game, he's ready to go for as long as possible, whereas last year he would get so out of breath, so tired in games, he felt like he couldn't play to the best of his ability.
Sophomore out of Kingston, Jamaica, 6'11" rim protector, something that really Reed Travis doesn't necessarily bring. In 10 minutes, 7 points, 3 of 3 from the floor. He's got 4 rebounds, so likely with Travis out, at least in the short term, more playing time for Richards and E.J. Montgomery.
I love what Laura said about Nick Richards' work ethic. Again, taking the ball into traffic, nowhere to go. Ravi, so many guys live in a fantasy world. I mean, they don't want to fight on defense. They don't want to pay the price to be in top 5% physical condition. They don't want to work outside of practice, yet they say they want to do this for a living. And that's just in a fantasy world.
Well, that 25 guy right there is just a perfect example of what hard work
absolutely
can do to improve a game.
Yeah, came back for his second year and embraced the fact that I got areas of my game to work on, and boy, has he done it. He made a lot of money in that Tennessee game in my eyes.
He's got 18, does P.J. Washington, and he certainly has entered. He's entered first class with regards to Player of the Year conversation.
Yes,
he's
he has.
got a seat up there.
Absolutely, he has. I hope Reed Travis is okay. Humility listens and arrogance talks. And he is a terrific listener with his eyes, his body language. For an older guy like that, he is such an outstanding listener every time I'm with Kentucky's team.
Well, that's a tough pass there from Pinson into Tillman. And Baker went for a little piggyback ride on the top of Tillman. It's a turnover. It'll go to Kentucky ball. Saw that injury, too, while Laura was talking. His own player banged into his knee. Keldon Johnson into Reed Travis's knee, and it bent inward at an awkward angle. Jamal Baker, he took some steps. Right in front of the coach, not the best place to do that. Rivalry week, it continues tomorrow. College basketball's greatest rivalry. Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, #1 Duke, the host #8 North Carolina at Cameron Indoor, and a Sonic blockbuster. That's 9 Eastern time on ESPN and the ESPN app. Got a couple of great players. You have Hall of Fame coaches in Roy and Coach K. 72 seasons between them.
There's just a different feel about that game. I did it 7 or 8 years ago as a sideline reporter. I believe with Mike Patrick and Dick Vitale that night, and it feels different than any other game I've ever been in. Any game.
Tillman aggressively went after that. Is it the environment? Is it the quality of players? What is it?
It's all that. It's the talent on the floor. It's the Hall of Fame coaches. It's the building's hot in Cameron Indoor. You can't breathe. It's packed an hour beforehand. It's standing room only. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to hide.
Obviously, they are right next door to each other, 11 miles apart. Battle of Ohio, Xavier and Cincinnati.
And you know, the game always means something. It's like, can we separate and we're a 1 seed and you're a 2 seed, or we're a 2 seed and you're a 3 seed?
Myron Metcalf, staff writer, of course, for ESPN, has got a story out there on ESPN.com. If you're interested in squeezing into Cameron to watch, looks like it'll cost you about $2,500. That's the cheapest available ticket, which is about $1,000 shy of what it costs to get into the Super Bowl.
I saw one that went for sale online for $10,000 for that game.
Really?
One ticket, $10,000 online.
It's on TV.
It is on TV. Good drive.
And by the way, as an SEC guy, you'll be tuned into the Ravitch Kennedy LSU Florida game. That's a big game tomorrow night in this conference.
I had Florida Saturday at Alabama, and they put on a defensive clinic. They absolutely guard their butts off. If they find enough ways to score, they could cause LSU problems tomorrow night.
LSU can't afford to lose. Johnson got banged. So if it's $2,500 to get to Cameron Indoor and we're going down LSU, what do you think the price of the ticket is down there, LSU, Florida?
It's probably face value, which is still a great bargain to get in at face value for that game. The LSU's got dudes. Kentucky knows it. They saw it up close and personal. Naz Reid is that guy that puts a lot of problems on your defense. And
I'm just saying, to me, it's a great night for the remote. I mean, they're ESPN, ESPN2, boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
You know,
I'll be in the studio, in the SEC Network studio, flipping back and forth. You're trying to take it all in and make sense out of what I watched for the 2 or 3 minutes you get to talk. It's not easy to do.
No, you don't have to flip, though. You don't even bury the remote. You got 900 monitors down there.
You're right.
54-41. We're talking about Wednesday, but right now it's Super Tuesday in the great city of Columbia, Missouri.
Back in Columbia, where we just received word that Kentucky's Reid Travis is out for the rest of this game with a sprained right knee. So they'll be without him certainly for the rest of this one. Hope to get him back for Kentucky, obviously, as soon as possible, Ravi.
Sprained right knee is an awful lot better than any tear in there, which is the fear right away when you see a knee bend that way. So thank you, Laura, for that update. Nick Richards getting some run, and E.J. Montgomery will get a lot more run now as well. But I think all told, Jimmy, as a coach, if it's a sprained knee, that's the best of a worst case.
Absolutely it is.
E.J., they're going to call him with an offensive push.
Trying to ISO PJ in the middle part of the floor. Konzo's guys sitting right in those gaps, waiting on PJ to attack.
Three straight turnovers for Kentucky. 13-point game. In and out. Tillman's been very active on the offensive glass in the second half.
Well, and that's going to be a substitution by Calipari, because he goes back to, are you attempting to rebound? And there was no attempt that time to get a body on Tillman, which is a big part of, are you attempting to rebound? So you got the flip-flop game going on. Richards is going to sit. EJ enters the game.
One-on-one for the sophomore of East St. Louis, Illinois, same area that Konzo Martin grew up in. They're going to call that on for Javon Pickett. He's got 4 fouls on him. Alonzo Martin likes his tenacity. He thinks Pickett's a bulldog out there.
No, he is. That's the kind of guy that Cuonzo wants to build his program around. This is one of those games for Kentucky in the middle of February when things get hard and the energy's not there. The body's talking to you that you just have to fight your way through and get a win and move on. It's going to happen to everybody in college ball, in every power conference for sure.
They're not yet in the bonus to try to steal. Little free throw, but you're not sneaking that cheese by these mice. No chance. Kentucky will inbound. Jimmy, you're still at 7:27. That 3 ball from Suggs goes down. It's a 10-point game.
Sure. And that's the danger in Missouri. They come and make an 8 or 9 a ball game, and Kentucky better stay attached and pressure heels above the 3 in this game now.
They haven't scored in the last 4.5 minutes. E.J. Washington has been sitting on 18. They've kind of gone double team on him. Suggs with some help from Tillman. Hagans in the lane. Pretty play from Ashton Hagans.
Yeah, they're guarding P.J. Washington with a man and a half. And what I mean by that is his defender's on him and then a half a man shaded on him before he ever catches the ball, putting him in a crowd. And Hagans a bounce back second half.
Suggs set for another one. Wow.
That hurt.
Yeah, there was nobody that you could look at and say he fouled me.
No, that one hurt.
You did a whole piece on how big the basket was.
We did do a whole piece on how big the basket was. Surprising how many players, when you do that for the first time and show them that 2 basketballs fit through that at the same time.
Laura Rutledge fit through the thing.
Yes. I mean, just that visual should make everyone a better shooter.
Tillman a load in there, and he keeps going back after it, but it's Washington who comes down with another rebound. Amazing how quiet somebody like Keldon Johnson has been in this game, and yet here they are, up by 15. We've made so much this season, Jimmy, of how Tennessee has taken the 3- and 4-star guys and really made them into 4- to 5-star guys.
Yes.
And yet when you get into a matchup with a team that's got 4 or 5 5-star guys, is that ultimately the difference between Kentucky and other groups? Like, they got 5 NBA stars on this team, or at least NBA players, not even bench players. And you got Tennessee that's developed 3-4 guys. Will Kentucky eventually in a, let's say, 10-game series win 7 of those games because of that?
Well, they very well could. Here's what Kentucky has now, Rev. They have 5-star guys that are playing like they were 3-star guys, with that chip on their shoulder and that you're not going to outfight us or out-effort us. That's the difference in this year's Kentucky team and last year's Kentucky team, who was extremely talented, but they were never connected. They were never for one another, and they were never for just winning ball games. That's what Kentucky has going for them this year that they did not have last year. I anticipate Kentucky and Tennessee could play 4 times this year. Another time in the regular season, another time in Nashville, and a potential another matchup in the NCAA tournament in that Elite 8 or Final 4. That's how much belief I have in those 2 teams in this league.
Everybody, rivalry week. It continues Saturday. 2 more great matchups. You mentioned LSU and Tennessee. They'll go against each other at noon Eastern time. Buckle up for that one. That's going to be a big game. And at 6, Zion RJ, number 1. They'll be in the Carrier Dome to take on the Orange. Both games stream live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere. Rivalry week continues here on ESPN.
Rav, you look at Tennessee's remaining schedule. They may lose another 3 or 4 times before Selection Sunday. But it doesn't mean that they can't win the national championship, because they can. They are a real team with real dudes and a real coach. And I think Rick saw it coming a couple of weeks before Kentucky, and he tried to tell his guys, we're getting away. We're a fake team right now in some areas. And they got punched. And
tough game.
Yes. That's their remaining schedule.
Tough games with 3 of them on the road. Tennessee had worked its way to the #1 team in the country, and a lot of people looked at the rankings and said, wow, Virginia lost at home to Duke, and fell just a couple of spots. Tennessee, the #1 team, loses at Rupp Arena to a team that was 1 or 2 preseason, and they drop all the way to 5. And strength of schedule is one of the reasons perhaps they did drop. They haven't played the toughest part of their schedule yet.
No, they have not, but that's a disservice to Tennessee. They should not have gone from 1 to 5 when they lose on the road to Kentucky. And that's why I have them up there in first class still, because they've done nothing that says they shouldn't be up there as one of the top 4 teams. Now, we're going to find out what Tennessee is going for the next couple of weeks, but I was really surprised at Kentucky knocking Tennessee down to that 5th spot with that 1 loss. That should not have happened. And I think that just goes to the lack of respect that Tennessee still has on the national scene.
Javon Pickett back-to-back buckets, and it's now 11.
Has not been a great second half for John Calipari's guys. Offensively, they are really struggling right now. Missouri's clamping down, keeping guys in those gaps, forcing Kentucky to do something from the perimeter.
Usually that means you go to the safety valve, and that's P.J. Washington. Ball came back to Tyler Hero, and he will draw the foul and go to the free throw line. That's a 91% free throw shooter. Big break there for Kentucky. Yeah, the first pass wasn't a very good pass.
It was not at all. But Tyler Hero is a baller. And I really believe he's their best overall defender now, especially how he finishes off defensive possessions with the board. But this kid, again, just like Keldon and just like PJ, he has more about his game as a jump shooter.
Jeremiah Tillman gets called for the foul. He's got 4 now. You do a lot about rotation and form. When you look at Hero, what do you see?
I love his free throw form, Ravi. He doesn't stare the rim down. I think there's a kid at Wabash College that set an NCAA record 95 in a row, and I watched him online. Just a very simple routine, 2 or 3 bounces, and his routine is so simple. 1 bounce, eyes on the rim, and let it fly. I am not a guy at all that teaches stare that rim down for 6 or 7 seconds and guard yourself at the free throw line. And Hero does not guard himself.
Pickett's been very active lately. Suggs nearly had it picked off. They get 6 on the shot clock. And Pickett's going to throw it up himself, but a pass to Tillman for the flush. Nice job by Javon Pickett.
Absolutely it was, to keep his bounce alive. And for Tillman to space out away from the bounce and gain pressure now, still on Kentucky.
Console Martin nearly the half court, trying to inspire his defense for a stop.
Boy, it is pressure the ball and everybody else pack the painted part of the floor.
Calls 0, not on Tillman. He'll go to the bench with 4. They call that one on Watson.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by Boost Mobile. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
We're back. The SEC on ESPN, Columbia, Missouri, the Tigers and the Wildcats. It is now crunch time. It's brought to you by Cheez-It. And in crunch time, you generally go to that guy, P.J. Washington.
Rather, Kentucky's moved the ball well. They have 10 assists on their 20 makes. P.J. Washington just so active and so confident. I mean, he walks on the floor like he's the best player. And the challenge was laid to this kid about 5 or 6 weeks ago when Cal said, do you want to be a good college player or a dominant college player? And he really took off from that point. And he's playing like one of the best 5 players in all of college ball right now, and has a little swagger about him, as this Kentucky team overall has.
Missouri's done a really good job on him, though. As you said, they're playing basically a man and a half on him. 3 second half points. He had 15 in the first half. Good moment during the halftime. They retired the number 3, Derek Chivas, the all-time leading scorer in Missouri basketball history.
He could really score the ball. and wasn't a three-point shooter. He was a driver, get to the rim, get fouled. Free throw line 8 or 9 times a game. Terrific offensive talent. Boy, give Tillman the ball. He's open.
Pickett's been a difference maker with his driving, shooting, and assisting. That time, E.J. Montgomery out of nowhere to block it into the bench of Missouri.
And those out-of-area rebounds and out-of-area block shots by Kentucky, their recovery length and recovery speed is outstanding, protecting the rim. And it starts with Richards and Montgomery. Calipari's out of the box.
You know, that's one of those too. Conzo Martin was up near half court when his team was on defense. That's an easy one for the official to call because it happens all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Pickett, high arcing three, no good. Rebound by Geist, looking for some help. Finds it, and a three is good from Watson.
It's amazing how many times an offensive rebound results in a three. That time it wasn't on the automatic first pass out, but very good job to find the far side of the floor. And that game pressure continues to be put on Kentucky by Missouri. They just won't go away.
Nope, 10-point game there. And of course, it is now between baseball season and the end of basketball season, mid-February. Got a chance to spend some time with the Red Sox, but still stuck in my head was the conversation we had earlier. And we're in Missouri, so Kansas City is 2 hours away. And truth be told, Jimmy didn't necessarily, I don't want to say you didn't know, but you didn't really know that Bo Jackson, who you can see a story on ESPN.com about, starred in 2 sports, because you knew him as a football player. His baseball career, short as it was legendary. And the 1989 season, which is what the article on ESPN.com is all about, he was an NBA, a Major League Baseball All-Star. He hit baseballs 500 feet. He snapped bats over his helmet. He scaled walls like a cat would. So these are the types of things that you missed. All-Star game, the president, Ronald Reagan, is there. I think Rick Russell was on the mound. Bo led off and homered.
Look at this. That is awesome. I knew he's a 2-sport athlete. I did not realize he was a Major League Baseball All-Star. He runs up the wall in left field, and Wilson just turns around and looks like, you got to be kidding me. Phenomenal athlete was Bo Jackson. And you have quickly increased my baseball knowledge over the last couple of months we've been hanging together.
And imagine if Bo Jackson had committed to just baseball and was playing now in light of a $300 million deal for Manny Machado, what Bo Jackson may have been able to earn as a free agent.
Yeah, and I was named after a baseball player, Jimmy Dykes. He's still the only player manager involved in a trade last time I checked the history of Major League Baseball.
There's a foul as Keldon Johnson went to it. We've seen coaches, managers traded several times over the course of major sports.
But he was the first, I believe.
The first.
Okay.
Pickett, the difference maker with 2-11, picks up foul number 5. And that's bad for Missouri because he's really been very active here in the second half.
No, the kid plays tough. He's not afraid of the fight, and he brought the fight at his position tonight. Conzo, not afraid to tell you, that's the kind of guy that I'm building this program around.
And you, of course, know, being on the campus of Missouri, that one of the great pitchers in Major League Baseball currently and in the end of his career, likely historically, Max Scherzer pitched for the Missouri Tigers.
And he's with the
Nationals.
Yeah. You like the Yankees this year, right? Not the Red Sox?
No, they're loaded.
You like the Yankees are
loaded.
loaded.
I like the Red Sox, too. I mean, that's like liking Kentucky and Tennessee. And
right.
It's like
Virginia.
first class on the jet.
There you go. They're all up there.
They deserve a seat up there. Big trip with $1:50 to go for Missouri. Tough pass. Good catch. Oh, boy.
Suggs. Ravi Tillman's showing us some stuff, isn't he?
He sure is.
In that time, he was very good to look for that backside and fired a fastball on the numbers to a cutter.
They're going to get some stops. They're going to have to get some fouls here, down 10. They'd love a turnover. They almost got one there, but a good job. Keldon Johnson got it and called timeout.
I got ran over one night by Levi Randolph at Alabama, so now I'm a little bit, quick to respond. JD was there too that night.
So our researcher, he quickly pointed to himself. He wants to remind everybody he was in the middle of that pile as well. It wasn't just about Jimmy.
It was I'm going to tell you, it happened so quickly. Levi Randolph and Bud Walton Arena went for a loose ball from Alabama. He hit me, and I went over backwards, and things spilled, and I had to go through concussion protocol. I was out for a couple of games. I had to rest me and bring me back slowly, past all the tests.
I'm not buying that part of the story. Yeah, you had me all the way up in the concussion protocol. So during this timeout, we'll take a look at Tyler Herro. Back-to-back really good games for Herro.
Well, he's just a solid all-around player. Has great elevation on his jump shot. Shoots an unblockable three. But he can, he attacks the elbows. He makes hard twos. Flies around defensively. He fixes problems defensively for Calipari right now. He's always the first guy in the rotation and out of the rotation. Very solid on-ball defender. His growth as a defensive player has really been special to me over the last couple of months.
Got 4 rebounds. So we gave you Tennessee's schedule, which is not easy. Kentucky's is, when you think about the 3 teams at the top, probably the second most difficult next to Tennessee. LSU's schedule is very favorable if you're thinking about who's going to win this conference.
Absolutely it is.
Both games on the road, nasty. And of course, Auburn and Arkansas can beat anybody if they're playing at their highest. Going to be hard to win at Kentucky, but boy, at Tennessee and at Ole Miss. Ole Miss trying to play for a double bye. They want to be one of the top 4. They lost to South Carolina tonight. South Carolina currently in the 4th spot in the SEC.
Gravy 13-5, got a co-championship in the regular season last year in this league. I don't think 5 losses will get it. I think it's going to be a 4-loss team that will win this thing.
Suggs needed it. Big 3. Lead is 7 with a minute to go.
Clear out the pressure. Let Hagans bring it. Be aware of the double back right now if you're Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky led this game 48-28 at the 17-minute mark of the second half. They led it by 20. And it's down to 7 with 47 to go. And free throws coming up for Ashton Hagans.
It's just so hard to put teams away on the road in conference play. And this is that stretch I talked about a few minutes ago. You just have to grind your way through things right now. A win is a win. And you get better the next day in practice. And good teams fix the problem within the game. They don't wait till the next day, and Kentucky's going to hang on in this ball game, but they have a lot of things to work on right now.
Remember Kentucky's Achilles heel a few years back, like they couldn't make free throws. They're a 74% free throw shooting team. Hagans knocked down 2.
You stay outside the 3-point line with your heels if you're Kentucky, and you're in good shape in this ball game.
Suggs will do it again. No, that's not Suggs. That's Watson. He missed it. Geist will pick it up. And they got to shoot quick. We've got 28 in the game. Tillman. Watson. Look at Tillman. Look at him go up and get it. He missed an easy bunny. As they dominate the offensive glass, the problem is they're down 9, and time is really running low. They knocked down a 3, but there's only 13 seconds in the game. And P.J. Washington walking gingerly back to the Kentucky bench.
PJ,
nightmarish 30 seconds there for Kentucky.
PJ's taking himself out of the ball game right now, and you're up 6 on the road. You know the full court pressure is coming. You have to inbounds it and cover it up. The worst thing you can do right now is not get that thing in when you're out of timeouts, Kentucky. And they're on an 11-4 run right now. It's in the last minute. See if PJ. It could be I don't know. It could be a cramp. He got hit from behind right there. It's hard to tell. We're not going to speculate, but at any rate, Kentucky has pressure on them now to get this ball inbounds and safely.
You got quickly Herro Hagans on the floor with Keldon Johnson and E.J. Montgomery. Kentucky will do their best not to get that ball into E.J.'s hands. The other 4 guys all good free throw shooters, and Herro's the best at 92%. He's going to get fouled.
It was a simple play by Hero, but a hard play to make. He had to make a fake and a hard, violent cut to the ball side of the floor. And then he attacked the pass as the pass was coming towards him. Simple play, but an important play when you're trying to close out a game.
He's taken 6, made them all, looking for point number 17 tonight to go with his 4 rebounds. You showed us earlier that 2 basketballs can fit through the rim at the same time. If he shot 1 righty and 1 lefty, given how he finds the center of the rim, he might be able to make both.
Yes. We realized tonight water coolers go through there, carry-on luggage. Laura Rutledge can fit through a rim. It's been an educational night.
And it's been a Kentucky win. Painful one. Washington on the bench with a bit of an injury. Reed Travis, sprained right knee. 66-58 is our final. For Jimmy Dykes, Laura Rutledge, our entire crew, I'm Carl Ravitch saying thanks so much for watching. And it's time now to send you to 2 good men, Levy and Bucci for SportsCenter.